They
Three
race for St. George.
and a two and a one. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kiss Australian East eCrit series powered by Zwift Community Live. My name is Jesper Anker, and with me today is none other than my co-commentator joining in from Tasmania. How are you doing, Wes?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Great. Just because we're almost at the halfway point. This is the 10th edition of the race, and we've got 14 races left, and the overall classification is shaping up, and we're on the Volcano course for the third week in a row, and this is by far my favorite course to be on as the racers roll out. 74 racers on the start line today, and who do we have amongst us? Because I know we have a stacked field today, Wes.
We do. It's going to be, it was 102 starters or something, I think you said, Jesper. So we
74
see some
today.
big names in
74
there.
today.
74 today. So we see some of those key players in there as well. We've got the Wolfpack crew in there, and we've got some other people in here that probably could sneak up the points. Just we were saying there was still a fair few points on offer. I think it was up to 230 something points left in the series. 280 points left. So
should be left up for grabs.
So that's a lot of opportunities for other people to come into the series and shake it up a little bit.
And looking at the start list, it's got everybody except Nazi and Cameron Roberts. How come Nazi couldn't make the start list today?
Yeah, so I had a bit of a chat to Nazi. Nazi, as the people that don't know, he's a fireman, so he's at the station tonight. So I did ask him if maybe he'd take his kicker along to the station. I think he has done that once before, so I said that would be a really good backdrop for the photos if he sent that in with the fire trucks in the background. But I think he's on shift, so he had to miss out tonight.
I think in place of Nazi, we spoke earlier about a certain Van Dam. I'm actually seeing him out on course right now. You have some inside information here on Mr. Van Dam, don't you, Wes?
Yeah, Van Dam, Ben Van Dam, my coach Ben, is a very strong rider, and his first eCrit race. So I actually rode his program, so I've chucked that in the program for him tonight to have a good workout. He's went out for a couple of little hours in the morning just to roll the legs, and he should be ready to go.
First time out in the eCrit series, Coach Wes forcing it upon his disciples almost. We'll see how Ben goes through this trial by fire now, because he's up there amongst Anthony Vegan Porsche, Troy Herfoss, Luke Ockerby, who's been making a name for himself, Linton Savatsky, Aaron Dunn. The pack is stacked tonight. We've got Cook out there, not Richard Cook, a different Cook this time around. And we've got Ben Hill, let's not forget him, of course. Aiden Coach is out here. Looking further down, Fixie Joel has made it to the start line. Gentleman Jim, as always. We've got several riders off the back, but that's because the pace is so high. We're going to be doing 7 laps of the counterclockwise circuit here on the Volcano. 33 kilometers in total. I think you should do the honor of just reshaping what happened last week, because it was quite a good race for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, it was with 1, 2, 3 at the end there. So we thought that Dunn was going to come through with the goods, but Dunn come through in second. We had Ockerby come over the top of them and just went for the doctor, and he just held on right to the end, used his power up to absolute perfection, and then we had Nazi come through in third. So 1, 2, 3 for the Wolfpack crew, so it couldn't get any better.
Pretty good racing. Actually, one of the best eCrits in recent memory because it had every aspect of racing. We actually had an echelon. We had a breakaway halfway through the race, and it seemed like it just came out of nowhere. Suddenly, the pack just snapped. I mean, it just split in two, and that was the Wolfpack that instigated that attack, and they ran away with, all the prizes. And that's just when you race with the balls the size of the Tasmanian Devil, you can do stuff like this. That is really, really well done by the WP Task team out there on Watopia on the Volcano circuit. The week prior to that, though, Wes, Ben Hill won.
Yeah, Ben Hill, and that was a really strong ride. So it'd be interesting to see whether Ben's timed his training to make sure that he's recovered. Last week, I know he did a couple of long rides, 4 hours out on the road, his first road rides after his collarbone incident. So it'd be interesting to see whether he's tapered his training back for that this time to make sure that he wants to have a real good hit up there and get up amongst the front at the pointy end of it this time.
Another rider to look out for is Michael Elias, who last week was very aggressive with the lack of Troy, Cameron, Nazi, all these instigators. Somebody else has to take up the torch, and now was Elias, who actually posted a picture of his setup on Facebook shortly after, saying, I felt good for the first few laps, then I attacked, and then I immediately regretted every single decision from my life from that point onwards. Can be dangerous from time to time, Wes.
It can be, yeah. So it's a tough call because the pace is already high. So if you do have to try and go off the front, then you're obviously got to go straight into the red because a lot of these riders are already sitting at that threshold. And we saw last week the pace was really high, so it was hard for riders to attack. So when they are attacking, they're having to go into that red. And some people, once they go on the red, they're dead.
Is this Pat Shaw who's out racing today? I'm taking a look
Maybe,
to see who it is. It actually is Pat Shaw.
Yeah, he said he might get involved.
I know.
He said he'd get involved maybe next time or the week after, but he's in there tonight, so it's good to see Pat having a race.
So for those that don't know Pat, give us a quick refresher on who Pat Shaw is.
So Pat's been around a long time. I've raced against Pat in the NRS series back in like the 2000 and 2005s. I did a little bit of stint away with the AOS crew over in Europe. Pat did a little stint away with some French racing teams, with Italian teams. So he's had a mix of experience. He's come back, dominated the NRS series the last couple of years back, and has just recently retired from racing, but he's back racing the eCrit series. So there's still some fight left in Pat, that's for sure. He'll get amongst this year.
He's got to be attentive now because he's sitting at 5.5 watts per kilo and he's sitting at the back of the peloton. It's stretched out now, and it looks like at the middle here around Savatsky we could have a break. The front of the group now splitting. Who is the one instigating this? It's got to be Troy, it's got to be Watson, it's got to be Hassan, and it is with another featherweight being popped. We're seeing Pat might be an NHS champion, Wes, but eCrit, he's got a bit to learn so far.
Yeah, well, it's certainly stretched out, and I'm not sure how much training Pat's been doing, but he'll certainly know how much he has to do when the power's being put down at the moment, and it's just stretched right out. We have a fair few, it looks like a couple of Wolfpacks there just joining on the back there in amongst it. So I hope that Pat can just hang on there because this may just a bit of a stretch out up through that volcano. It'll come back together. He'll use that downhill to move up, get himself in position so he's not too far down the back for the next time we hit that volcano.
It's the current leader, Aaron Dunn, who is actually a bit, I'd say, in trouble. Usually he likes to sit at the back, or at least that's what he's been doing for the series so far. But he was sitting at the back at around 6.2 watts per kilogram, and I don't think you can ever be resting at that sort of wattages unless you are Tour de France ready, right?
No, yeah, that's certainly going to be taking a little bit of sting out of the legs. So yeah, I think it probably the pace that's being set so high at the front there, it caught probably a few people out and didn't realise they were that shuffled back. And and you get that echelon, the sort of effect going on. It starts that rubber band and it stretches out, and that means that you've got to stretch the legs out too. So that extra power had to be put down there, and that's a little bit wasted too.
And this is the reason why it's so stretched out. Last week, Troy Herfoss was busy training for the MotoGP sessions to come back. This week, he's bringing the motor indoor, and he's just attacked off the front, making it that Anthony Vegan Porsche and Watson have to react to this. Troy Herfoss, just another specimen out here. Him and Drew Gin, engines.
Yeah, it's certainly some engines in there, and Troy Herfoss has got a big one, so he's not afraid to get out there and show it either. So we've also got a couple of new extra people for the Wolfpack crew. So Ben should be racing the Wolfpack crew. I'm not sure if he's got the WP Taz on the name. He's just sort of getting updated with it. Also got Chris Birtwistle, who I train, who's going to be in here racing tonight too. So yeah, we've got a strong Tassie field in here. For how big Tassie is, we certainly punch above our weight for cyclists.
I'm having a look further down. We've got Bertie from the WP Taz team, 26 seconds behind the front group. Yeah,
so that's Chris Birtwistle. So he's been caught out there with that stretched out, with that little bit of rubber band elastic. The people in front of him dropping the wheels get caught out there, and so you have to use a few biscuits to get back on here.
On this course, though, if you get dropped, there's no coming back on. Like, if you get dropped, you have about 3 seconds to react. Otherwise, it's game over from that point onwards, and you can just roll to the finish line, because it's just Look at the speed up in the left-hand corner. It's 50 kilometers an hour, putting out about 350 watts, which for Leech is 4.5 watts per kilogram. These guys are just digging hard right now, and they're only on the first lap of this circuit, Wes. We're in for a good night's effort.
They're certainly putting in. It looked like I saw Sean Wakefield. I think it was. He races for Oliver's. I've had a battle with him before in a KISS race last year when I was training, but before I was going over to Asia. And he's certainly a powerhouse. It took all of my effort to try and roll him. In the end, I'd use a fair bit of tactics to make sure I got him in the end. So he'd be one to watch too. There's Sean Whitfield. That's him. Yeah. So
his heart rate is pretty high right now, though. You see that? 194, 195.
Yeah, he's up there on the limit, I'd say, there at that sort of heart rate. He's riding a reasonable cadence there at 86. So he's not slogging, he's not grinding.
Wondering whether or not that heart rate monitor is correctly attached, because it's not very often you see a heart rate monitor jump from 180 to 194 and then back down to 180. So it could be Sean, maybe just playing with the field with his heart rate monitor. Could be, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe he's got it on upside down. I don't know.
Yeah. It is Australia after all. Just saying.
Yeah.
Man down under.
Yeah.
No. At the front, we have another attack, it looks like, as we're hitting this ramp into the volcano at the very front of affairs. None other than Troy Airforce, 9 watts per kilogram. Once again, rocking that Trek Madone in his Strava kit, up to 10 watts per kilogram now. He is training for, I actually don't know what Troy's training for particularly, because I've been seeing him running a lot over on Instagram. But today, he's using all pedal power. There's no running today, but 10 watts per kilogram. At 165 beats per minute. This is a good race so far.
And if you look at his cadence too, Jesper, there, he's hitting that high cadence. He's 98, nearly 100 on that cadence. So he's really spinning the legs out here as well. He's looking after his legs by not getting bogged down in that cadence. And I don't think he has any choice, but with the power he's putting out, that cadence was going to come up with it.
And he's been training, like he's been racing this course before. He's won this exact course before, so he knows where to attack, where to sit in, where to rest. But all you've got to do is be attentive in case somebody else pulls one over on you. Because with the level of field we've got today, we've got so many new names enter the eCrit this Tuesday evening that I'm not sure it's going to be a stable name that wins tonight. It could be a newcomer to the racing. We just have to see when we get further in, because it's always the same every Tuesday. The first 10-15 kilometers, the pack is still fairly collective, 20 riders. You get halfway through to the 20-kilometer mark, and that's when everyone starts looking around and being like, wow, we've only got 10 riders left. Now it's time to assess the situation.
Yeah, no, I reckon that you're right there, Jesper. I reckon it could be an unknown that comes through tonight. Someone maybe that's new joining the series. So it'd be pretty exciting if that happens. That'll spur them on. Obviously, if they win tonight, then that's going to keep them coming back for more, and then they may be in the running to be part of the final in Melbourne for the hosting. And just before the World Championships, you were saying it's on September the 19th.
It's the day before the World Championships in Norway begin. So if you're just tuning in on Facebook, you're watching over on Zwift, Wesley, what are they racing for here? What's the incentive behind the eCrit powered by KISS and Zwift Community Live?
So obviously the first 6, if I'm not mistaken, will be taken and flown down to Melbourne. Doesn't matter where they are racing from around Australia. Will be flown to Melbourne, looked after, and they'll get to showcase at the Zwift event. So everyone's going to come along. It's going to be a really good time. You know, like we had earlier at the other Zwift parties, we have some beers and some free pizzas and things. And it'll just be a really good night and a really good race. It'll be exciting, and it'll be great to be commentating that live with you, Jesper.
I know. It's going to be awesome to come down to Melbourne again. I mean, you sold me when you said live event Melbourne, but then you added beers onto it. Then you added free pizza. And right now, I'm already packing my bags, ready to fly on an airplane to Melbourne. Just saying.
Mate, don't lie. I'm sure you haven't. I'm sure you haven't unpacked your bags from the last trip here. It's ready to go.
Funny enough, I can still see my backpack or my suitcase over there. I'm not a good unpacker. I like traveling too much, man. Love the world, love my job, love everything about it. Love everything about the eCrit series as well, because the Australian community, the Australian way of living is just so, it just spreads, you know. It's so contagious, and that's what we're seeing out here racing. There's no hate, but there's all love, and there's all tire kicking happening from these racers out there. As Watson again, one of the new names sitting at the front now, putting down the hurt, as we're seeing lap times around the 5-minute mark from Thompson so far with the best time out on course. 15 minutes of racing done. Pace has been high so far, but if you've been racing smart, you can actually sit around 1 watt per kilo less than the rest of your competitors. I remember a race or so a week ago, I can't actually remember what race I watched. The actual winner averaged 4.1 watts per kilogram. Second place averaged like 5 watts per kilogram. That just shows, Wes, that you have to race smart and not hard in these situations.
Yeah, that's it. You can be the strongest in the pack, but if you're not using that smarts, then yeah, that can really put you on the back foot. So it doesn't matter how strong you are. Sometimes it can pan out being strong as an ox, and if you get that gap and with the right breakaway. But you have that option also to play your cards and sit in the bunch there. Only use that energy when you need to. So, if there's a dangerous moving, if someone's going like Troy Horfoss is going up the road with a couple of other strong guys, and you might want to think about jumping on that and shutting it down. But other than that, then you probably want to just keep saving the legs in there, ready for that sprint. But I don't think we'll see a sprint here today. I think it's going to be too aggressive. There's too many unknowns, I think, tonight. I just feel that tonight's going to be really bust up those last couple of laps.
Oh, man, I'm just thinking back to last week, or was it the week prior to that? I remember Coach Aiden in the KOM jersey, sprinting from this exact moment, looking like he had it all in the bag. He went off the front, he attacked, just like Troy Herfors did right now on the final lap. Then he exploded with about 200 meters to go, and everyone came left, right, and center and took over him. That's what this course offers, that final run into the line. It's just so difficult as Troy Herfors pops an aero power up at 10 watts per kilogram. Again, he's just softening up the legs of the competitors, and a 3-4 second gap. Is he going to stick with this, Wes?
I don't think he's going to stick with it, but I think someone else, hopefully at the top of this volcano, will go over the top. Maybe someone could join him here. So it'd be interesting to see whether anyone else has got a power up that they want to pop at this moment to try and bridge that gap across.
His friend and, comrade in battle, I would say, Cameron Roberts, who usually attacks with him and has been really good so far, is actually busy over in the States racing live action criteriums. He used the eCrit to get ready for it, and now he has made the trip all the way over the pond over to the United States of America, racing in real life criteriums, and that has really been a blow to Troy Herfoss's chances, because they would usually attack away together like they've done on the Classics course so many times. But today, he's all alone. And now, looking further down, I see Linton Savatsky is in amongst the riders. And he is, I spoke to you prior to this broadcast, Wes, and I said Linton Savatsky is the Mark Cavendish of this field. I have not seen a better sprinter. Aaron Dunn is fantastic. But Linton Savatsky has a mix of race smart and just the pure wattages for the sprint. He knows exactly when to pop an aero power up. He knows exactly where to sprint, how far to go. This guy's talented.
Yeah, and we see that with these races that they using that smarts. You've got that little aspect of using those power ups, and even if you've got the most strongest power up, if you use it at the wrong moment, then it's worth nothing to you. So getting that timing right, and I guess maybe it's because your man has had a little bit more practice with the racing side of things and knows exactly how that power up is going to work and when he should be using it. It looks like Troy's going to go back to the bunch here too now. I don't reckon he's going to carry on with it. He's going to save his bickies and hope that next time that he does go that someone comes with him.
Because at the end of the day as well, Zwift is a game. It's gamified fitness, and things like aero power-ups, things like featherweights, if you know when to use them, they can be a massive advantage. Just like how to corner, how to draft out in the real world, you've got to use every aspect of the race available to you. So we're seeing that out on course today, and it's always good as we're now halfway through the race pretty much, Wes. And last 2 weeks, at this point in the race, we've picked a horse. I'm going to let you go first again. Who would you pick, and why do you pick this horse?
Oh, I'm gonna have to be biased. I'm gonna have to go with Ben Van Dam. I coach him. He's super strong. He had a good race on the weekend here at the local racing in Tassie. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give my horse back from the Wolfpack crew again.
The rookie out on course to win his first eCrit race. That would be very difficult. We see Ben Van Dam though. He's sitting near the front. See, the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
go-to pick would be Troy Herfoss. He's back to racing. He's looking good. 10 watts per kilogram. Nobody able to react to him. But I've got a feeling it's gonna come all back together. Too many strong names today, and I do think it's gonna be a sprint. And the man I was talking about earlier, Linton Savatsky, there's no beating him in a sprint. I think he's gonna nail this one all the way to the finish line. But that being said, the odds on this happening are like 1 to 100, because there's Coach Aiden in here, there's Troy Herfoss, there's Linton Savatsky, there's Ben Hill, there's Pat Shaw, there's Luke Ockerby, there's Aaron Dunn, there's Anthony Vegan Porsche. So many strong names, so many different scenarios, so don't you go anywhere, because we're halfway through the racing and it's still full out, guns blazing, looking through down the pack. It's going to be a good race today with the power-ups being popped left, right and center. Anthony Vegan Porsche, by the way, speaking of having a good weekend, raced this weekend, and I know you caught up with him, Wes. What happened?
Yeah, he did a local race, a weekend tour, so 2-day tour over the weekend, and he placed in third, so he's back on the podium, so he's certainly shaken off that man flu, and he's back into form, so he'll have a bit of confidence about tonight, and make sure that he's right up there, those pointy ends and those moments. It'd be interesting to see whether he would like to go off the front with Troy at a stage there, or whether Troy's got that sprint over him, so I reckon if Vegan Porsche is going to go anywhere, it's probably not with Troy. But I reckon he's going to have to distance himself, because I don't reckon he has that overall kick and power that maybe some of those other guys have at the end in the final.
He's got the disadvantage, though, which often in cycling you wouldn't actually believe was a disadvantage, but being as lightweight as he is, as you can see on his avatar right now on the screen, on the flatter sections of the course, he actually has to put out higher watts per kilo to follow the rest of the racing out there. So he's actually expending more energy on the flat sections compared to his competitors. But then when we reach these parts of the segment, he can rest up a tiny bit more, but yet again, it's still full out. It's never any rest on this course, looking at the riders racing here.
Yeah, and that's where it can be a little bit difficult and disheartening for someone because of the weight power to weight. But at the same time, he's still up there second on the series. So you got to be consistent in this series as well. It's not just coming down to that one-off win. If you're here each week and you're putting that good show in, placing well, and winning every now and then you're in a good shot to take out this series.
I told Anthony Vegan Porsche, we're in the same team, we're in Team Vision. I told him prior to this race, Anthony, today, do me a favor, do not mark a single attack. Sit in, let WP Task do all the work for you, and then see what you can do in the final few laps.
Oh, so Jasper's doing a bit of coaching now too, so that's good.
Friendly coaching. I'm not so sure how valuable that advice is, but it's just
one other funny thing too. I was saying with the Aussie community and that here we have other racers in the race here. I know that Jordan Davies called out one of his teammates to get involved. Actually, it was Jay Dutton. Sorry, called out Davies to get involved. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know whether he said something about shaving his legs. He hadn't quite shaved his legs. So I said the eCrit series is probably a good race to get involved in. You don't have to worry about shaving your legs or any of that. Don't know whether the aerodynamics on the wind trainer would really come into account.
Always.
But I did say to get involved. You never know, because you could have E form. You don't know. That virtual form may be there.
Wow. Last week was full of dad jokes, and I feel like we might be Trent's proud dad joke. Coach Aiden and Troy Herfoss for a second there was off the front, by the way.
Yeah, he was off the front there, and Coach Aiden was with him too. So they're testing the waters there. It'd be interesting to see whether anyone wants to push on with those moves. Obviously, I thought that we would have seen a few hacks coming from a few of these unknown names in here now, because we've got a few other names in here that I haven't seen in the series before. So the pace is quite high though, so it's still sitting up around that 4 to 5 watts a kilo. So it is hard for anyone to go off the front here without using that power up. So some of those people, new people as well, might not know how to use those power ups as well.
Oh, I'm sure. If you don't know how to use a power-up spacebar or on the Zwift mobile link-up app, there you can also activate it. There's a big button that says Aero Power-Up, Featherweight Power-Up, or if you're unlucky, it says nothing because you got an Experience Power-Up. But I saw, out there for a second, I saw Damian Hassan, and he's always one who loves a bit of trash talking prior to the race. He's always trying to instigate a fight before the start banner even goes down. And so far, he's been pretty quiet, so I think he's cooking up something. I think Damien Hassan is saving up, and at one point he's going to light that fuse, and then we're going to see how bright he's going to shine when that fireworks goes off, because he's always one to at least give it one attack, one go out in the eCrit series.
Yeah, we still see Sean Whitfield in there as well, the other rider that I was talking about earlier that I had a bit of a battle with once in a KISS race. So he had that high heart rate before, so I wonder whether that's settled now and he's come back in, and he looks like he's still sitting in there, in with that bunch.
Looking like his heart rate is at 221. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, obviously that's not correct.
230 right now. He is
Yep.
reaching, he's trying to beat the Guinness record for highest ever measured heart rate on Zwift. 233. It is keeping on growing. I think Shauna Whitfield might just be a gazelle. So
Yeah, I don't think that's correct. I certainly hope not. Otherwise we could have some problems with the series, with people having some real
someone
issues.
should start calling a firefighter to do CPR.
Yeah, we may have to call Nadsy in to help out with that one. Ben Hill's still in there too, so he's going to be sitting pretty. He hasn't used any energy. There's a lot of these other riders that have been sitting in here tonight because the pace is high. They don't really want to go off the front here because they're really going to have to use either that power up. Maybe they're saving that aero power up they have, because I've heard of some riders saving them the whole race. If you get that correct power up. Yeah,
just
cheeky
a quick
riders.
shout out though. We see Vaughn is out there. Shane Miller's better half is out there on course, and she's been racing the eCrit series from the women's side of the view, and she's been doing really good, consistently showing up every Tuesday. I've been seeing her out on course, and I've been meaning to give a shout out, but today we're just catching her out on course, and Vaughn are right on, looking good in that KOM kit as the riders are now approaching into the volcano once again with high speeds, up to 8 watts per kilogram, 9 watts per kilogram again, popping featherweights. Everyone popping their power-ups, hoping to get an aero power-up, because if you get that aero power-up, you should not ever use that aero power-up unless you come to the final sprint. It's so valuable that you've got to keep it all the way to the finish line. But it's so many riders are still in this pack, Wes. We're seeing at least 20 riders still all together with 10 kilometers left to go, with 3 laps left to go. 10. It's good. It's a big pack today.
It's good. It's a good pack, and it's a strong pack. So I'm really hoping that we're going to see an absolute fireworks go down. We're going to see some of these unknown riders get up there and get amongst it and really take a flyer. I really like to see some fireworks happening now. Obviously, Troy Helfos he's going to attack for sure. So it'd be interesting to see whether some of these other people start to go with him and then start to press on with it, and that'll just stretch out that bunch. And maybe some of those riders that are just sort of sitting at the back there will start to pop off. We'll have to start to try and really hold up. Like you said, once you get that 2 or 3 second gap, before we know it, it looked like the bunch will be down to maybe 10, half that amount that it is now.
It definitely will string out once again. At least 3 or 5 riders will be spat out the back once the pace goes up again, because it's settled down. It always does. I sound like a broken record, but every single time we get to this exact point in the race, it's that reassessed point of view. That's where everyone looks around and tries to get their heart rate down because they realize they've made it. They've made it to the promised land. But that's when somebody attacks and you go, oh, better luck next week. So.
Oh, no, it looks like we had a power outage from Ben Van Dam as well.
No, not a mechanical.
Power outage. Yeah, mechanical.
Somebody get him Shimano neutral service.
So he's gonna need to get the neutral service. So I don't know whether he's completely out of the race, but yeah,
it looks like it. I have not seen him in a while in the front group. So
rookie. Yeah. So he won't be getting up for the win tonight, but he was in amongst it there and right up the front. So good experience. He knows where the level's at. So he's had a taster for it. So he'll be back next week.
Well, he could be back later on today at the West eCrit, which is happening in about an hour and a half time at 7 o'clock Western Australian time. So if you're still feeling up for finishing the race, feel free to join that and join Ben Simpson, Richard Cook, Richard Gales, Rupert Walsh, and several other strong Australians in that race. Yeah,
he could. It depends if he's got an early start in the morning or not. I'll have to work that out with him there, Jesper. See whether he can stay up
Well,
a little bit
technically,
later.
he skipped his training session if he had a power outage, if he was scheduled to do a race. So, coach, make a decision.
Yeah, I'm going to have to make that decision. So, yep, there we go. It's made then. So it looks like Ben will be racing the other Western eCrit series after this race has gone down. So that's another hour and a half away.
If you want to watch this broadcast, by the way, or that broadcast, head over to Zwift Community Live right here on Facebook, where that race will be broadcasted live for your pleasure. And you can watch these races duke it out from the western side of Australia. But 24 kilometers into the race now, Damien Hassan has taken it up at the front at about 3.84 watts per kilograms. It looks like the pace has come down a tiny bit, just a notch. It's still really, really high, but it's come down just a tiny bit now as we're waiting for that one attack to just ignite everything. And we're going to see fireworks in a second. Luke Ockerby's in here, doing much better. Aaron Dunn, Fixie Joel, looking good.
Yeah, and Fixie Joe, I had a bit of a shout to Fixie Joe and told him to put 102 on for his gear and take off that 91.8. So last week he got spun off the back there. He just didn't quite have that didn't quite have the gearing nailed. So I think he's changed the chain rings around on his Fixie, and he's going to be in there in the mix for tonight.
On this Fixie, I could not imagine riding a Fixie on Zwift, but hey. All respect to you, Fixie Joel.
They had the trikes challenge. There was 100 miles, was it, on the trikes?
Yeah.
And it unlocked some of the bikes.
Did that in the Fixie?
Oh, well, I don't know whether they bring in the Fixie for it. I don't know how that would work. Like, you can't change your cadence or something on it. You have to bring in something so it tricks you. So it bucks you like on a track bike.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're at that point in the race where we would like to ask you to give a ride-on to whoever you think will be the winners today. Usually, we show the Swiftophone, but today, we've actually gotten something much bigger, much better. It is the infamous, not so much a cowbell, because I bought the wrong item, because it's not actually a cowbell, it's a drumstick that you use to hit on, but that'll be fixed for next week. Trust me, that will be fixed. But we're bringing out the Swiftobell. So, we asked you to take out the Zwift mobile link-up app and give a ride-on to whichever rider you are supporting, a family member, friend, teammate, or just an idol you're just cherished out there on course. Give them a ride-on. Let them know that they're in your thoughts and you're cheering them on. They're going to hear you cheer loud and clear when they see that ride-out drop from the sky. We're seeing ride-outs all around. Thank you so much for giving them their support as they're racing every Tuesday. I can tell you, Wes, these riders, when they drop off the bike afterwards, they're ready to pass out. That's how hard, that's how deep they're digging.
Absolutely. Like some of the, and like we've got a good mix. We've got firemen in these races. We've got tradies. We've got everyone in these races. So the thing is, they're absolutely don't leave anything to chance. Everything's laid on the line. They're absolutely exhausted. And some of the photos we did see that got sent in, there was puddles of sweat just underneath those bikes. So they're losing so much fluid. Some of the people, don't probably have the optimal fan setup. So yeah, good idea to get hydrated after this as well. So take plenty of fluid after the race.
I absolutely love, by the way, I love Neil Padlow's picture, which was a post-race coffee where he actually balanced his coffee on the saddle. Thank you so much for everyone who sent in a picture. And on Saturday, there are actually 3 of those participators who are actually going to walk away with Zwift water bottles. So thank you for participating in that competition.
Yeah, that was good. It was a good insight to get everyone involved. And it was really interesting. Some of the setups that we did see, we saw Ben Simpson had a picture of his wife's bike he was actually using for the series. I think he's updated that now, and he'll be actually using his own bike, so he won't be on the pink machine tonight.
I can't believe he actually put a picture up admitting that he's been racing on his wife's bike. I mean, it may just be to discourage the rest of the competition, saying, hey guys, I'm leading right now, and I've been racing my wife's bike.
It is a little bit of a head crack, a bit of a head game with it, but I rated it.
It's good. No, it's honestly, it is a fair dinkum way to do, a thing to do.
You're working on your slang there. You're working on your Aussie. That's good.
That's all thanks to all the people that have been writing into me going, Jesper, here's a bit of slang you can try and incorporate. I'm trying slowly but surely, but wrapping my head around the Aussie lingo, it will take time because you guys have a complex way of using slang. But I love it. It's so awesome.
Yeah, we'll keep updating you on it too. I'm sure we've got plenty more in there. We've taught you the seagulls and the chips, the lolly scramble. I'm sure we'll pull some more out when it comes to this fireworks here. I'll think of a couple of more that we can give you.
We've got 14 weeks to go. That is 3
Yeah.
months left in company with each other. I think we've got time to come up with some more Aussie lingo to interject into this broadcast. But we're about to reach the final lap. We are racing 33 kilometers in total. We're looking for a total race time of about 43 minutes today. And it's shaping up to come to the finish line. It's been all quiet. Early on, we had Troy Herfoss go on the attack. He realized that he couldn't sustain these efforts, but we've seen Troy win sprints before. How are they going to play this? Because he's obviously the juggernaut, Wes. How are they going to beat Troy in this?
Yeah, well, Troy is going, and also we've got Ben Hill still in that bunch too. So we've got Troy and Ben. Oh, and looks like someone that's a little fakey there. Just a bit of a
We're
tester
seeing
of the
this
legs.
so often now. That little fake attack. That was first I saw Ben Simpson do in the West,
Oh,
and now the East are taking
Now
over.
we go. Straight over the top here. Who is that going over the top?
That is
I can't
unfortunately a
quite see.
rider from South Korea racing in a riding or a spin studio. So, all due respect, but he cannot finish. He cannot get a result in this race because you gotta be Australian, as it's the Australian eCrit series. Good eyes though, Wes. No way! Did we just? Unfortunately, with 1 lap to go, we've actually lost audio from Wes. Was an issue last week that we're trying to fix, but there's really nothing we can do. Let me chat to the producer 1 quick second while I've got Wes on call. This is something that will be fixed from next week onward, that we've been trying to fix. We spent a lot of time over the week trying to fix this issue, and you can see Wes on screen. He is not playing charades now, but it is not his fault, as this is solely on us at Zwift Community Live for having some technical difficulties that we're trying to think if it can work. So we're changing the scenes back, and it's still not working, but it happened last week as well at this exact time. We're trying to look into it. Wes is still with me. He can still hear me, but his audio is not coming through, as I've got my producer on the side feeding me information as we're going live right here. Everything is good, Mr. Producer. Everything is as you say, but nothing is coming through on my end. Only way to fix it would be to restart the broadcast, but with 1 lap to go, I feel like that might just be too much, too little, too late. So we're looking into it now, and we will be fixing it as we've got 1 lap to go. And I think what we're gonna have to do is we've got 1 lap to go. Wes, you're gonna be in shot. I hope you've got a teacup ready, because last week you had to ring the bell, and I would love if you would do me the honor of ringing the bell again as we're going under the 1 lap to go banner. And a 3, 2, 1. Wes, please do me the honors, ring the bell. Although you can't hear it, but thank you, Wes, for joining in today, and sorry for the technical difficulties. And since you can't hear it, I'm gonna help you right there. 1 lap to go, ladies and gentlemen. Give it everything you've got. 4 kilometers left of racing there. There you have it. The bell has been rung. Watson out on course. Hassan sitting second wheel. We've got Innovation Cycling up there. Got Johnson. Pack is still massive. 15 riders left together. Ockerby, Gentleman Jim, Ben Hill, Linton Savatsky, Troy Herfoss. Who's going to be the first one to make a move? Wes, if you can still hear me, the producer has asked you to refresh your web browser to see that might fix the audio on your end. So try and give that a go, as we've got 3 laps to go now. Gentleman Jim sitting on the right side here, putting up the pace. This could be a massive sprint finish now, as they're going to scramble for the chips here tonight, as the seagulls are out in full glory, as Wes would say now. Gentleman Jim taking up the pace, trying to lead out.
Jesper?
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
We are back.
Oh,
we are back.
goodness. So we now know what it is. We fixed it. Wes, I'm glad you're back, man.
All right, definitely my end then, or what? Anyway, we're back on air, so we've got 1 lap to go. So everyone looks like they're sitting in pretty here. No one's going to take a fly yet here. I reckon we'll have to see someone use a power up early on.
How
And
good is Shaw
that'll
sprint?
just make. Sorry,
Pat Shaw, pro racer.
Pat Shaw.
He's sitting up there. He's been looking and he's been lurking. Now he's in the podium of the affairs. What's his sprint like?
Pat's got a pretty good sprint. Yeah, he's quite fast and he's quite strong with his sprint. He can really just hold that high power on. So we've also got that Sean Whitfield still in there, probably sitting at 300 beats a minute, I reckon, if he's still in there at the moment. So it's good. We've got a really good mix of names here. So having Pat Shaw, Ben Hill, a lot of these guys I've raced before, and they're no slouches. So it's going to be pretty hard. Luke Ockerby is in good form as well. He's been training a lot, and he's been doing a lot of triathlons. So he might have tamed down his running a bit because he's getting a bit quicker now with his sprint and getting a bit more speed on towards the end because he is a sprinter. He's quite fast and used to do a lot of track racing in America around the American Crit Series and scene. And in Canada. So yeah, it'd be good to see Ockerby get up there and have a bit of a dabble at the end.
Let's not forget Aaron Dunn, the current overall leader of the whole East eCrit. Definitely a fast sprinter, the fastest time I've ever seen on the mall sprint. You know him.
Yeah, I know him, and he's certainly fast. He just needs to make sure that he's in that right position, though. Like last week, he was probably just a little bit too far back, and then couldn't quite get that run at it. Where he just needs to make sure he's right up there on those wheels at the end there, because you can be the fastest, but if you're not in that right position, then you're not going to be able to hold on.
Look at this, Wes. They're all jockeying for position at the front. Everyone is trying to sit that top 10. It's crazy.
I'm loving that bird's eye view. Anthony Vegan Porsche is up there. He's not gonna die down because he knows he's in form. He's shaking off that man flu. He's been up there on the podium over the weekend. He's local racing, and now he wants to jump on the podium tonight. Aaron Dunn obviously will want to be up on that podium and stamp his authority over this race. And we've got some other. Jay Dutton, who was calling out his other teammate Jordan Davies to get involved. He's still in there as well. We've got Brody in there. We've got who's this? Leach is also there. So
Hassan
we've got some other names in here. Hassan is quick also. So this is a really
off the front.
Field.
Oh no, going back. Jay Dutton. None other than Jay Dutton. We've got about a kilometer to go right now, and he's gone off the front.
Nice work. He's got it 7.47. He's holding there. He hasn't quite got the best power up for. He's using a drafting, I think it was.
Yes,
so he's just really using his legs. It's all himself here, not using any power up.
Go,
and they're on the back of him here. We're on the back of him. Vegan Porsche's right up there.
Arrows.
Featherweight. Look at the power ups being used right now. All those arrows being moved. Everyone saved them.
Everyone has got an arrow power up, but here comes Linton Savatsky, the man to beat, the Mark Cavendish of the sprint. He is the first one to launch, sitting at 10 watts per kilogram. But Luke Ockerby, the local, 12 watts per kilogram. Wow!
Go!
Could he make it 2 in a row now? But he's got to keep away Jones, Troy, Dunn. He's going for it. The arrow power up, 1,000 watts. But Savatsky's coming back now. He's coming back. He's gaining ground. One last ditch effort. Ockerby takes it, and then I can't call third place.
That was. We're gonna have to go to the photo finish on that third place. That was tight, very, very tight. I don't know whether Dunn got on there or not. That was exciting. What a finish! That was awesome.
The racers are heated up. The commentators are heated up. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. That is what the eCrit does. That's how exciting it is. That's how drawn in. Thank you so much.
Did you see how many power-ups were going at the end there? The power-ups were just going everywhere. There was so many aero power-ups. So many people held onto those aero power-ups.
Everyone knows it by now. They've done it so many times. 10 weeks in a row. You get an aero power-up, you keep it. And that's what they did. 6, 7 aero power-ups in one sprint.
Yeah, and poor Jay Dutton didn't quite have the strongest of power ups. He was the first man to go right at the end there with that drafting power up. So he was sitting pretty strong there at 7.5 watts a kilo, and he obviously wasn't getting much help from that draft power up. But then we saw all of those aero power ups popped, and they just went straight over the top. It was a shake and bake. And Luke Ockerby was certainly the strongest with that move when he went. He just full power. Did you just see the gap increase? He ripped it up, yeah. Absolutely ripped it.
I think I have the preliminary results, everybody. So these are they're not final. They're preliminary, thanks to SwiftPower.com. First place, Luke Ockerby with a crazy sprint finish. Second place, Linton Savatsky. Third place was Ollie Jones, who I believe is from New Zealand. He also did well last week. So that means he can't place because you got to be from Australia. That puts Aaron Dunn into third place. Sean Whitfield, Mr. 213 average heart rate.
Yeah, I said he would have hit 300 in that sprint. So yeah, I did say he was I did say he was quite strong in the races that I did against him. In the Zwift Kiss race last year before I was going away to. I think I may have been going away before Tour of Philippines, and I was racing against Whitfield, and yeah, he certainly put up a good fight. I had to really use my tactics to get over him in the end.
And then following that is Ben Hill, Anthony Vegan Porsche, Coach Aiden, Shane Johnson, Warwick Leach, and the rest of the results. You'll have to head over to swiftpower.com to catch it. Wesley Sulzberger, it's been an honor to have you by my side for the eCrit. Despite the technical difficulties, once again, we prevailed. The riders prevailed. The racing prevailed. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Wes, you have the honor of doing the outro.
Thank you very much for joining, everyone. Tune in next week. We had some new races. We had some old races that have been involved in the series, but everyone get involved. Tell your friends about it. And make sure that you join in next time for me and Jesper. And thank you very much for racing tonight.